What if I told you that forgetting where you put your keys might have less to do with your brain and more to do with your gut? Welcome to Better Health Faster. I'm here to break down the latest science into changes you can actually make, starting with research that could reshape how we think about brain aging. This episode covers a groundbreaking study published just this month that connects your digestive system to your memory in ways scientists are only now beginning to understand. Here's what Stanford researchers discovered. As we age, changes in our gut bacteria don't just affect digestion. They actively disrupt communication between your intestines and your brain. And when they restored that connection in aging mice, those old mice could suddenly form new memories just as well as young ones. The implications are enormous. Today we'll explore what this means for human brain health and what you might be able to do right now to support your own gut-brain connection. Let's start with the basics. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation. Scientists call this the gut-brain axis, and the main telephone line is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body. It wanders from your brainstem all the way down through your chest and into your digestive system. Its name comes from the Latin word for wandering, and wander it does, connecting your heart, lungs, and gut to your brain in one continuous information highway. For years, researchers knew this gut-brain connection existed, but they didn't fully understand how it changes as we age, or whether those changes could be reversed. That's what makes this new Stanford study so remarkable. It doesn't just describe the problem, it demonstrates a potential solution. The study was published in Nature in March 2026, one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world. This is rigorous, peer-reviewed research. The Stanford team found that aging causes specific changes in gut bacteria that directly hamper communication between the intestines and brain via the vagus nerve. And here's the critical finding. When researchers treated old mice with a molecule that activates the vagus nerve, their cognitive performance became indistinguishable from young animals. Think about that for a moment. Old mice, with declining memories, were essentially restored to youthful cognitive function by targeting the gut-brain connection. The researchers identified a specific bacteria called Parabacteroides goldsteinii that increases in old mice and is directly associated with cognitive decline. As this bacteria proliferates with age, it triggers a cascade of events that ultimately weakens the signal between your gut and your brain. The three-step pathway to cognitive decline starts with gastrointestinal aging, leads to microbial changes sensed by immune cells, and results in impaired vagus nerve communication. Immune cells in the gut sense the bacterial changes and trigger inflammation. That inflammation then interferes with how well the vagus nerve can transmit signals. Now, you might be wondering whether this finding applies to humans, and that's an important question to address honestly. This study was conducted in mice, and while mice share many biological similarities with humans, translating research findings to people is notoriously challenging. The human gut microbiome is far more complex than that of laboratory mice. We eat different foods, live in different environments, and have vastly different lifespans. However, there's reason for cautious optimism. The vagus nerve pathway identified in this study exists in humans, and we already know it plays important roles in brain function. In fact, vagus nerve stimulation is already FDA-approved for treating depression, epilepsy, and aiding stroke recovery in humans. So we know that stimulating this nerve can have therapeutic effects in people. The question is whether it might also help with age-related cognitive decline. Researchers at Stanford are now investigating whether similar pathways exist in humans, but that research will take years to complete properly. What's particularly exciting about this research is that it suggests a potential intervention point. Rather than trying to treat brain aging directly, we might be able to address it through the gut. As one of the Stanford researchers put it, we can enhance memory formation and brain activity by changing the composition of the gastrointestinal tract. A kind of remote control for the brain. That metaphor of a remote control is powerful. It suggests that some aspects of brain aging might be more accessible than we previously thought. The study describes this as a direct driver of memory decline, not just a correlation. The bacterial changes and vagus nerve disruption appear to actively cause cognitive problems. This distinction between correlation and causation is crucial in science. Many things correlate with aging, but proving that one thing actually causes another requires rigorous experimental evidence. The Stanford team demonstrated causation by showing that activating the vagus nerve reversed the cognitive decline. If it were mere correlation, the intervention wouldn't have worked. So what can you actually do with this information right now? While we wait for human studies, there are evidence-based ways to support your gut-brain connection naturally. First, let's talk about supporting your vagus nerve naturally. Deep breathing exercises, particularly slow exhales, are one of the simplest ways to stimulate vagal tone. Try this. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, then exhale slowly for 8 counts. That extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve. Cold water exposure has also been shown to activate the vagus nerve. Even splashing cold water on your face or ending your shower with 30 seconds of cold water may help. Gargling vigorously is another surprising vagus nerve activator. The muscles at the back of your throat are innervated by the vagus nerve, so working them sends signals up the line. Now let's talk about gut health. The research suggests that maintaining a healthier gut microbiome might help preserve brain function as we age. Fiber-rich foods feed beneficial gut bacteria. Think vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains. These provide the raw material for a thriving microbiome. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi contain live beneficial bacteria. Adding these to your diet may help support microbial diversity. Managing gut inflammation may also be important. Anti-inflammatory foods like fatty fish, leafy greens, berries, and olive oil have been associated with better gut health. On the flip side, highly processed foods, excessive sugar, and artificial additives may contribute to gut inflammation. Consider reducing these where you can. If you're experiencing both digestive issues and memory concerns, consider discussing the potential connection with your healthcare provider. They can help evaluate whether gut health might be a factor. Remember, the specific bacteria identified in the study, Parabacteroides goldsteinii, may not behave the same way in humans. We simply don't know yet. This is where intellectual honesty matters. Nutrition science is evolving, and what works in mice doesn't always translate to humans. Some researchers caution that targeting specific bacteria might be too simplistic. The microbiome works as an ecosystem, and changing one element can have unexpected effects. Here's something important. There's no supplement that has been proven to replicate the vagus nerve activation used in this study. Be skeptical of products making such claims. Instead of chasing the latest brain supplement, focus on the basics that research consistently supports: regular physical activity, quality sleep, social connection, and a varied diet rich in whole foods. Physical activity in particular has strong evidence for supporting both gut health and brain function. Even moderate walking has been shown to benefit the microbiome. If this kind of research interests you, consider subscribing. We cover stories like this every week, breaking down the latest science into practical insights you can actually use. The Stanford team is continuing their research, working to understand whether the same pathway exists in humans and whether similar interventions might help. Clinical trials take time, often 5 to 10 years from initial discovery to approved treatment. But this research opens a promising new avenue for addressing cognitive decline. In the meantime, supporting your gut health and vagus nerve naturally carries little risk and may have benefits beyond cognitive function. Reducing chronic stress is another way to support vagal tone. Practices like meditation, gentle yoga, and time in nature have all been shown to help activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Sleep quality matters too. During deep sleep, your brain clears metabolic waste. Poor sleep has been linked to both gut dysbiosis and cognitive decline. What I find most hopeful about this research is the underlying message: some aspects of aging may be more modifiable than we thought. The brain has long been considered untouchable once decline begins. This study suggests that targeting other systems in the body might offer unexpected ways to protect cognitive function. As the researchers noted, this represents a kind of remote control for the brain, changing brain activity by modifying what happens in the gut. Before I wrap up, remember that this content is for informational purposes only. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your health routine. What we've learned today is that your gut and brain are intimately connected, and as we age, disruptions in that connection may contribute to memory decline. The good news is that there are simple, low-risk ways to support both your gut health and your vagus nerve. Deep breathing, fermented foods, physical activity, and quality sleep are all evidence-based approaches. We don't have all the answers yet, but this research gives us a new lens for thinking about cognitive health, and that's worth paying attention to. Thanks for joining me on Better Health Faster. Take care of your gut, and your brain just might thank you for it.